Okay, so children are not developmentally capable of making decisions about engaging in sex, nor are they mentally and emotionally prepared to deal with the lifelong negative outcomes of being sexually violated. So in terms of support and solutions, how can we educate, empower and protect our children, or abuse-proof kind of our children as best we can, given the reluctance within our own Black community of addressing childhood sexual abuse? So what things can we do to educate, empower and protect our children within what we're working with, the hesitancy and the reluctance within the Black community? Davina?
I agree with what Tiffany said earlier with, I grew up with not calling our vagina and penises the vagina and a penis.
Yeah.
I grew up with funny, silly little names. So that's one thing. And not until I had spoken out about my sexual abuse, that's when I was like, hold up, wait a minute. Because I had already taught my children silly little names and things. So as that happened, I then started to tell them the correct names of each part of the body that they need to. And as they grew up, washing them, I would say, right, you know, nobody touches here, you know, and if anything, come and tell mummy or daddy, and, you know, just making them aware while growing up, not waiting until they get to like 12, 13 to have to talk to them. There are different ways of talking to children and making them understand from not an early age, but an age from the moment they're with me, from the moment they can talk.
Yeah.
I think that's a time when you should be able to speak to them freely and be very open about sex and any questions. With me as well, I think when I was younger, I would ask a question and I'll tell you when you get older. I'll tell you when you get older. No, I'm asking a question because it's come up somewhere with one of my friends or something at school. So if your child has a question, just tell them. They're asking for a reason. And that's how I've now tried to bring my children up. Yeah. So they are very open and sometimes a bit too open. So I'm like, hold it down. Just 1 minute. But, you know, I really, really encourage that. I think from the moment they can talk, then that's the moment I think you should be able to just start telling them certain things.
So one of the things that we can do is to teach our children the correct body parts. It's interesting you should mention that, because for some parents, for a lot of parents, for some reason, even directly telling their children the correct body part makes them feel uncomfortable. Sheree, what do you have to say about that?
I mean, I agree definitely, and I think I've been one of those parents that did start to tell my children when they were younger, you know, this name, or, you know, to try and make it cute, try and not make it so full on. And I remember my daughter, she said to me when she was young, she was really young, she must have been about 4 or 5, and she said, "Mummy, what's a penis?" And I was like, I was so shocked. She said the actual word, because I always gave it these little cutie names, you know. But just to say now, but I think it's definitely the responsibility of a parent to educate their children. We need to now know that we can move forward. We don't have to be like our parents who kind of, you know, shied away from certain things. We as a parent, we have a responsibility and a duty of care to our children to talk to them about, you know, sexual abuse. And we have so many resources now, like on the NSPCC website. There is so much stuff and resources, information out there that you can talk to your children. You know, I talk to the children in reception, and, you know, I do the no pants rule so that they know that, you know, the different body parts, but also know what is private, and where, you know, someone shouldn't be touching them inappropriately. So much so that one of the parents came up to me and said, "My daughter doesn't want me to change her now. She tells me to go out the room, you know, while she changes." And I think, but that's great, because she's taken on board. And I try and do it in a fun way. And we do pictures, and, you know, we do colouring. We do knickers, and we colour in the knickers and make it all pretty. But you have to start educating your children from young, definitely. And as I said, in terms of education now, sex education, the sex ed has really gone up a notch, and they're really being open and transparent. And it's not just about the child sexual abuse. They will talk about FGM, which, you know, a lot of the children, you know, some of the children have gone through, even sex texting, you know, those kind of thing as well, because children can experience abuse in so many different ways, peer on peer. So those things now, the school is also making sure that they are doing their part. The school, what they're recognizing now, it's got to be more holistic. It can't just be about the education and knowing your maths and English. We have to teach children how to live in this society, what to be aware of, to know, you know, how they can safeguard, how they can protect themselves as well. And when we talk about this, yeah, the children laugh and they giggle, but it's also helping boys to have a more of an understanding and respect for girls as well. Because I think because sex ed was like the boys would be taught one here and the girls would be taught here before and not together, that, you know, boys didn't understand a lot and girls didn't understand a lot. But it's about allowing children to have an understanding what, you know, what sex ed is, you know, what abuse is. And, you know, we also try to educate the parents. As I said, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of support groups. There's so much online that you can learn from and that you can teach your children. But it's us, our responsibility as parents, to be the first port of call.
Most definitely. And before we just quickly let Tiffany add a point here. So we're saying that how we can help the children that we come across today is all these things that both you and Davina have shared. Obviously the generations before us, or my generation, or Davina or Tiffany or your generation, all it is now is about educating, if they've got children and stuff, on how to empower their children. And one of the ways we can do that is to give them correct name for body parts, teaching them also as well maybe about healthy relationship, what healthy relationships look like. You know, it's not healthy for instance, a dad to be having a sexual relationship with his daughter. So, you know, those are also things that we have to look at as well. Tiffany, I'll get to you just in one sec. We had a question here. Oh, we had a comment here from Josephine. She said, you need to have a close relationship with your mother or safe carer. Relationship is crucial. Listen to them every night. Never dismiss their daily concerns, experiences. Talk to your child. Groomers know how to identify children who have fractured relationships. I definitely would agree with that. Tiffany, did you want to quickly just add a quick point to that before we move on?
I have 2 points in 30 seconds or less. So, okay. Grooming is so important. My son is anti-groom. He's groom-proof. I have because of my experience, people might think I'm hyper protective, but I need to do what I need to do to make sure he's safe. And that means to me, I don't care if I leave him with my best friend. I don't discriminate. If I leave him somewhere, each and every single time he gets in the car and starts to buckle up, and I'm very descriptive. Anybody touch your penis? Anybody put their mouth on your penis? Anybody make you touch their penis or vagina? Anybody touch your butthole? We go through our questionnaire each and every time I leave him somewhere. Friend, family, school, it does not matter, because I don't want any opportunity to possibly slip under the radar because I did not ask him today. And then I'll also add that me being in a healthy relationship has also opened my eyes to things I wasn't aware could be maybe inappropriate. Like, I dated a man who has a daughter that's my son's age, and there are things he does not do because he's like, you know, I'm her father. I know she's my child and she's, you know, she's 5 years old, but she's at a point where she doesn't need to be sitting in my lap. Or, you know, I don't need to be in the bathroom with her while she's undressed. You know, there are certain things. So when you start to see men be appropriate with their children, it also makes you put things into perspective too, if you've been abused by a man.
Yeah, most definitely. I definitely do agree with that. Andrea,